I've been buying and selling these crazy high-end statues for the past 10 years. And I've been selling a lot over the last 3 years. I've sold over 500. Notice how I slowed down and said 500 to emphasize it more? Because that's a lot. And as I find more and more of these statues from my personal collection to sell, well, as you can imagine, it gets harder and harder to decide which one do you want to sell. You start with the pieces you really don't love as much, but eventually you get down to some pieces that you really don't want to give up. And 4 years ago, I made this video right here. It was actually a joke video. Which statues do I regret selling? Essentially, after the intro, I said none, and then I played elevator music for 9 minutes. That was true. For the most part, giving up these statues is not hard. They're painted pieces of rock. But I have noticed, especially over this last year, that some of these were really, really hard to give up. 9 of the 12 on the list we're going to talk about today were all in this past year. So when I say they were hard to sell or hard to give up, it doesn't mean it was difficult to package up, although some of them may have fell into that category. It just means I really didn't want to let them go. And I let them go for a number of reasons. Some people made offers I just couldn't refuse. A large reason for a lot of these is I just took my collection in a different direction. I've been whittling down space more and more, and I'm very happy with where it's at. But man, some of these I would really want to buy back. And I've never done that. I've never sold a statue and bought it back before. I'm not that indecisive. I'm not a woman. All right. If that offended you, should I leave that in?
Hey, that's what she said.
Hey, my name is Mr. X. Welcome to the Extreme Channel. We are giving away $1,000 statues to you guys. If you want to know how to win one, stay tuned for later in the video. Hey, welcome to the Extreme Channel. That was a joke. If you follow the channel, you know how much I love and respect women. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that. It was a joke. Men are much worse than women, trust me. And I think there's 23 other genders nowadays too. So some are worse than others. Anyway, back to the subject at hand. Today we're going to talk about the 12 statues that was really hard for me to sell. I just didn't want to. And before we dive into the list, two things. I'm going to give an honorable mention, kind of a category, and then I want to hear from you. But yeah, so those are the two things. So let's just do that. Honorable mention category, all my Berserk statues. They were really hard to sell. I didn't want to give them up, but honestly, there's such a rabbit hole with the Berserk. I may end up picking up one Berserk statue in the future that kind of encompasses everything. I have my eye on Prime One Studio diorama that we'll see, life-size bust diorama. But the Berserk were really hard to sell. Before I go through my top 12, though, why don't you throw down in the comments below what was the hardest statue for you to sell? And maybe it's not a statue, just another extreme purchase. What was really hard to sell and why'd you sell it? I love to interact with you guys, and more importantly, you could win a statue. As we try to grow this channel, we like to reward you guys for watching and subscribing. So because of that, every 5,000 milestone when it comes to subscribers, we give away a couple $1,000s worth of statues. We've actually given away over 20 statues. To win one was easy. First, you gotta be subscribed to the channel. You'll get bell notifications when videos drop. Each video that drops, you wanna make a comment on those videos. We pick a random video, we give away statues based on a comment. You can say whatever you want. The more videos you comment on, the higher your chances are to win. All right, thank you to all those who comment. I really appreciate it each time. But 40% of you aren't subscribed. We're not going to get to that next statue giveaway unless you subscribe. So make sure to do that as well. So let's kick it off with number 12. Number 12 was actually XM Studios Thanos. I think this is one of the best Thanos statues out there. I did keep the Lady Death. I got the deluxe version and kept the Lady Death. But the reason I got rid of him is I have 3 other quarter scale Thanos statues. They're all throne statues. One I venomized over there to the left, you probably saw on the room tour. One's with my cosmic pieces, one's with my throne pieces. So 4 Thanoses was just too much, and that's the reason I got rid of that one. Number 11 is kind of interesting. Number 11 I got rid of because at the time I couldn't pair it with anything. It was a 3rd scale vampire piece, this Reaper from ECC. And I thought it was a fantastic statue, and I had a quarter scale blade that looked stupid next to it, a custom blade. And so eventually I decided, you know what, this doesn't go with anything, I'm gonna get rid of it. And fast forward to today, I actually have a number of 1/3 scale vampire pieces that would look fantastic next to it, including a blade from PCS. So unfortunately, that is definitely something that was hard to sell at the time, and it's even harder knowing that it would have went fantastic with my collection. You know, I got it for a great deal. I got it secondhand for $1,500. I sold it for about that much, and that is definitely one that I would buy back in that price range if I could get it. Number 10 is a Star Wars piece. I completely got out of Star Wars other than life-size pieces, and that was this Darth Vader right here. I tried to justify that, I can keep this even though my collection is moving in a different direction. Maybe I can put it with 1/3 scale sci-fi stuff, which is a huge part of my collection now. But ultimately, I decided he needed to go, despite being one of the best Star Wars statues ever. Number 9, same reasons. It was a DC piece, and I got rid of all my quarter scale DC pieces. Now I have just 1/3 scale, and I'm hoping, I know Prime 1 teased this character recently in 1/3 scale, but this 1/4 scale Riddler was really hard to let go. I let him go because not only was I moving in a different direction with my collection, but somebody messaged me or emailed me and said, hey, I'll offer you twice what you paid for it. So I couldn't say no to that. The reason this was so hard to let go is because, first of all, there's very few Riddler statues. Second of all, it was done incredibly well. And last, but certainly not least, I was actually part of this project, so it meant a lot to me. Number 8 is another Star Wars piece. So same reasoning as the Darth Vader. This might even be better than that, though. This was this giant Wampa. And this was quarter scale, even though it's bigger than most half-scale pieces. But I would love to own an entire quarter scale collection of Star Wars. God knows there's enough pieces out there. I just don't have the space, and my love for Star Wars is very, very high. But I have this tribute wall to Star Wars with life-size pieces and signatures instead of a quarter scale collection. But this went to a fantastic collector. I saw pictures of it in their collection, and it looks great. Number 7 and 6 are both DC pieces quarter scale, so similar reasons to the Riddler that I just moved in a different direction. Now these were larger pieces too, starting with number 7, this giant Bane statue. I think this is the best Bane statue on the market. I even tried to get him to work with my 1/3 scale pieces, but due to the characters on the front, Poison Ivy and Harley, it just didn't look good. And I hate when the scales mismatch that much. But a fantastic piece. It's actually from a video game I've never played, but I had it with my entire quarter scale DC collection that I got rid of. Number 6 is a King Shark. This one almost worked with my 3rd scale collection, but still he was a little bit too small, even though he's a giant quarter scale, because I think he's like 8 or 9 feet tall. This is not only one of the best iterations of King Shark, kind of this realistic, ferocious take, but very few iterations of him are out there. So this was done so incredibly well. This is one of those ones I wish it was in 3rd scale, or if it was a little bit bigger, I definitely would have kept it to put with my 3rd scale statues. Number 5 is an oldie. This is one where I actually put in a video saying, hey, I would never sell this, and then someone offered me 4 times what I paid for it, so I couldn't say no. Got rid of Phase 2. This is probably the most highly sought after Wolverine statue out there, if not the most, one of the most. Wolverine vs. Wendigo. Mine was painted by Art Sizer. Absolutely amazing piece. The best Wolverine statue in my opinion. But I had to let it go when you're going to make that much of a profit. Number 4, recently, actually, the day I'm filming this, I printed out the label. And by the way, fuck UPS and FedEx. I'm filming this November 14th, and they already have a holiday surcharge. The holiday surcharge was an additional $180. Additional $300 to ship this bitch. And of course, I'm talking about this Rocky Hard thing right here. So obviously, the biggest reason this was tough to let go is not only is it an amazing statue, but my wife painted it. And it was the first statue she painted, and she knocked it out of the park. She did an absolutely fantastic job on this. So very hard to let go. But in the end, I got rid of all my Fantastic Four. I didn't want to keep just one thing from the Fantastic Four. See what I did there? Number 3 is this custom Silver Surfer. So I got rid of this because I had, at the time, I think I owned 12 Silver Surfer statues, and I narrowed it down to 2. So I got rid of 9 of them, I think it was, or 10. I can't even do math. But this is a fantastic statue. It only came as a kit. It was hand-painted, and I love how stoic this is. Kind of a museum-style surfer. Highly sought after. I don't think it's the best Silver Surfer statue out there, but I would definitely put it in the top 5. And again, I'd made a decent profit on it, which always helps. Number 2. This is one I didn't expect to sell, but a collector who has bought many statues for me of this character, because this is their favorite character. They reached out to me, and they said, there's no way in hell you'll probably sell it, but here's my offer, and it was an offer I couldn't refuse. So this custom Hulk statue, so hard. I think this is the best Hulk statue ever made. It's fantastic on so many levels. I miss it incredibly, and I know it's going to a much better display, even though I had a pretty cool Hulk display, and yeah. See, you can tell that one's tugging at the heartstrings. So number 1 was really hard for a few reasons. One, I think it's one of the most badass statues ever made. It just looks incredible. It made it a little easier that I don't have much attachment to the character, but what made it really hard is I was involved in the creation of it. Decently heavy. And it was a long story of a lot of shit that went down, but I can't believe I'm giving up this custom Curse of the Spawn statue. It's absolutely amazing. And I say I'm giving it up because it is sold. Someone's been making payments on it, but I still have it on display for as long as possible. I think they have about 6 weeks left from when I'm filming this. I'm looking at it right now. It's one of the most badass looking statues I've ever seen. But unfortunately, I'm just not a giant Spawn fan. I do like Spawn, but I don't love him that much. And it doesn't go with anything in my collection. So it's going out the window. You know, it's not Marvel, it's not DC, it's not movie. And I'm going to miss that one. That's definitely the hardest one to sell. And again, you can kind of tell my voice and my mannerisms. Some of these got hard to sell considering they're just painted rock. But with that, moving on. You know, I'm sitting here wondering if it would have been easier to make a video of the people who have passed and how much I miss them. I wonder if I miss them as much as the statues. Relax, that was a joke. I appreciate you tuning in. Of course, I value people more than statues. Not all people. Some people are just weird as hell, especially after this last election. But I appreciate you guys. Please hit that like button, and I'll talk to you soon.